Hello, statistics students, and welcome back to Chapter 5. We're on to example number 7 here. So we have what percentage of a standard normal model is found in each region. Okay, so it gives us a z-score here. So we assume then it's always a great idea to draw a little graph, right? So if it's a z-score, that means the middle is 0 here, and 1.5 sits up here. It says it's less than, right? So I get I'm sorry, the z is greater than 1.5, so I get all of this area up here, right? And the question is, like, how much is out here, right? And in order to do that, a couple different ways. One, you could use a z table, and in this case, I'm not going to use the z table. I think most of you have one of these calculators, these TI 84 plus. You don't have to have the plus version. You can use any TI-84, and 83 should work too. And instead, it says that it's a standard normal. So because it's standard normal, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, oh, okay, then I can use a function in there known as normal CDF, and it's always the lower and then followed by the upper bound. So in this case, when I write it out, I have a normal CDF of the lower bound. What's the lowest it can go? It's the 1.5. Now, how big does it go? Technically, it goes forever. Remember that we're doing standard deviations, so like anything like 20 should be more than enough, right? I get that technically we should have like infinity here, which you can put in really anything you want. 20 should be more than enough though to cover the decimal places that we're going to be able to see. So if I put 20 in, let's see what happens in our calculator. Come over here to calculator, and we're looking for distributions, which is right here where I'm hovering above. It's the blue part of the variables, so we hit second. Vars, here we have the distributions, right? We're looking for normal CDF, not PDF. We go down to number 2. We hit enter. The lower bound now, it's 1.5. Type that in. The upper bound, remember here you can put a bunch of different things. You can put 20, you can put 200. It's not really going to matter. Don't touch the mu, don't touch sigma. Standard normal. Say paste, and then it's there, right? Just hit enter for it to evaluate it, and it comes out to be 6.68%. Okay, so that's how much percentage is from 1.5 standard deviations or above. Okay, so there's how you do that one. Feel free at any point during this video to pause it and try the other ones out. I'm just going to kind of keep a nice solid pace. I will probably stop showing all the tiny little steps at some point, but I'll try to mix up my colors here and so on. So here again, always nice to draw a little curve. 0 because it's a z-score. I go to 2.25, that's somewhere up here. This time it's less than, so I get all of this area down here, right? I get all of that. Well, that's normal. CDF, technically I go forever, so it's like negative 20 up till 2.25. Again, kind of come over here. You could try to highlight it. It's sometimes just easier just to go back in, hit 2. Try that again. Hit our 2 button, right? Put our lower bound. It's a negative 20 to 2.25. Have it paste it, hit enter, get it. And of course, we anticipate this. You should anticipate this being over 50%. If you're wondering why, okay, because you've shaded over half the graph. Just like up above here on part A, we shaded under half, so we should expect a number smaller than 50%. Use that logic as you're going, okay? So on my next part here, C, this one here might be a little more challenging for us. It says that I have a negative 1. Remember the zero's down the middle, and then 1.15. Here, this one's a little tougher to know if I'm shading over half. Technically, it's negative 1 to 1, above 1. So I know there's actually at least like 68% according to the empirical rule. Probably a little bit more though because I have this 0.15. But again, it's the same steps we've been doing. This is normal CDF, -1 to 1.15. We come over here, we type that into our calculator. And it ends up being 71.63%. And that is close to 68%, kind of like we would have expected. Okay. Under our last one here then, I think this is a great time to challenge yourself. Pause this video and just think about how you would set this one up. Okay, so hopefully you've stopped the video and you challenge yourself a little bit. You should know some things about absolute values. If not, there's other videos that you can watch for that. Here I have 0 for the middle, right? Now if z, the absolute value of my z is going to be greater than 0.5. Think about this now. Clearly, it could be up here at 0.5 or higher, right? Like if I put 0.6 in there, it works out. But think about it this way. If I put -0.6 in here, -0.6, the absolute value of that will be 0.6, right? Which will be greater than 0.5. Which means, right, that tells me that, oh, I also have to go down here to -0.5, and I want things technically less than that, because then that will give me a positive number when I plug it in there. So I get both of these zones. Now, there's so many different ways to do this one, it's ridiculous. You can either do this one individually. Over here, this would be a normal CDF of -20 till -0.5, right? That would give me this section, and then I could add this section in, normal CDF of 0.5 up till 20. That would give me this section. Okay, I could just add those two up, and then I could get my answer, right? Or another thing that you could do is you could go in and you could find what we don't want. This green part I don't want, right? Well, that's normal CDF -0.5 till 0.5, and then I just do 1 minus that, and then that would also give me the answer. Okay, both ways work out. Okay, both ways work out. I also could just take one of these and then double it, okay, because it's symmetrical. They have to be the same. All of these type of things should work out perfectly. It's up to you how you want to do it. Me personally, I think I'm going to do the 1 minus version. So here I want the -0.5 to 0.5. Paste it. You see how I typed it in 1 minus that initially? Okay, that would be a 61.7 with 1%. Okay, which isn't too bad, and if you were to do it the other way, you'd find the same thing here. Okay, and that concludes example number 7. Coming up, we have example number 8, where we'll deal with some. We'll talk about some Angus steers.